The abyssal waters of the primordial sea roared in wrath, their depths convulsing with ancient power. Since the day mighty Anzu was cast down, the heart of chaos had throbbed without rest, seeking to unmake the order of the worlds. Tiamat, colossal and serpentine, drifted within the shadows of the endless deep. Her vast form shimmered with a ghostly light, and her eyes blazed like drowned stars in the abyss.
He called it justice, but it was nothing but murder. Cloaked in gold and law, Marduk must fall, not just for Anzu, but for all of us.
Her hand had brushed the water, and the depths had quivered. From its trembling surface arose a vision of Marduk enthroned, wreathed in the majesty of heaven's dominion.
I won't face him alone, not yet.
In the valley where twilight held eternal reign, the goddess of love wandered in solemn grace. Amid blossoms that glowed with the light of forgotten suns, Ishtar stood, her presence a hymn to beauty and sorrow. A breath of wind, soft as the sigh of ages, bore petals that drifted through the air like fragments of a dream. Yet her gaze, deep and unfathomable, was fixed upon realms far beyond mortal sight. Tiamat descended, and the light waned. Flowers withered in her shadow's wake, as though the world itself recoiled from her presence.
Tiamat, your presence turns beauty to ash. What do you want? Justice, balance, war. Marduk acted for the order we all swore to uphold. Order built on blood is not justice. Who will he crush next? You? Me?
Silence fell like the weight of eternity. Ishtar turned her gaze aside as though the fate of worlds no longer deserved her eyes.
He was merciful once, wasn't he? Or did I only choose not to see? I know loss! So do you! Help me restore what was stolen! For love, for balance, I stand with you.
Upon the lofty heights of the world, the storm god brooded beneath a sky of wrath. Enlil stood alone, his staff a pillar against the raging tempest. From the depths of shadow, Tiamat rose toward the summit, wreathed in coils of blackened mist.
I don't welcome chaos, Tiamat!
And I don't bring it! Marduk does! One by one we'll fall if we remain silent!
Anzu's death, it haunted me, but I buried it because I feared the truth.
You know it already. Join us, Enlil. Not as a traitor, as a protector of what's right.
Enlil lowered his gaze, and the breath of the world gentled.
Then let the storm strike where it must. I'm with you!
At the heart of the heavens, Marduk sat upon a throne of gold, his glory blazing like the sun at its zenith, yet blind to the cracks that had begun to split the foundation of his dominion. In serene majesty, he set his seal upon the decrees of fate, while the pillars of the chamber quivered with a breath unseen. His gaze rose, shadowed with foreboding. Then, with the roar of 1,000 storms, the gates of eternity burst asunder. Through them strode Tiamat, mother of chaos, her presence vast as the abyss, flanked by the radiant fury of Ishtar and the silent storm of Enlil. The very air trembled, alive with the fire of impending doom.
Your reign ends today, tyrant!
Tiamat, you come here with threats and traitors. Explain yourself.
We loved you once, Marduk, but the god we followed is gone.
You've broken what we were sworn to protect.
They think me blind to sacrifice, but leadership demands pain. You think you can match the will of the supreme god? I created peace.
Then you can die with your peace.
Tiamat lifted her hands, and from both ceiling and floor the waters poured, twisting upon themselves into a tidal force that rose like a living mountain. The sky screamed in torment, the earth held its breath in dread, and the gods, once whispering, now roared with the fury of creation undone. Marduk summoned fire and light, and they clashed with the abyss of Tiamat. Ishtar's arrows flew like burning stars across the void. Enlil hurled thunder that crashed down upon the world. Thus the battle was joined, a war divine destined to shatter the very heavens. The sky cracked, not with lightning, but with a force more ancient. A storm rose, bearing the weight of creation and the doom of destruction. The gods had turned upon their own kin, and the firmament writhed in turmoil. Clouds coiled into a vast and furious vortex, and the heavens themselves trembled. Beneath that dread tumult, the stones of the earth, older than memory, quaked beneath the tread of divine feet. Tiamat had taken the form of a monstrous serpent, her scales gleaming dark as obsidian. Her roar had torn the sky asunder, rending heaven and earth with its fury.
Marduk, you stole the throne with blood and lies. Today, I drown your empire in the waters of origin.
Tiamat had lunged, her fury like a collapsing sea. Marduk had lifted the Imhulu, the storm-forged weapon that carried the breath of Tempest. The winds had screamed, the stars had flickered in dread, and he had met her charge amidst the trembling of the cosmos. Black waves had crashed against cyclonic winds, and from their collision erupted a shock wave that had torn the firmament. Light had rippled across the heavens, splitting the clouds as though they were glass shattered by the hands of gods. Where Tiamat had been wrath, Ishtar had been precision. She was the fire of life and desire, honed into a blade. Arrows of flame had streaked across the void like wandering comets. She had danced upon the air, each motion a fusion of war and love, destruction and creation entwined.
You were once the morning star, Marduk. Now you're a tyrant. We were gods, not servants.
Marduk had countered with his net of order, woven from the cosmic threads of creation. It had lashed toward Ishtar, yet she had twisted like flame, eluding its snare, and struck back with fury. Sparks had erupted, and the breath of the heavens had hissed as if scorched by their clash. Enlil had raised his arms, and the skies themselves had screamed in terror, as though the firmament were riven by his will.
Justice is not control, Marduk. The storm does not serve. It balances. You tipped it.
Lightning had torn the heavens asunder, thunder had crashed like the fall of mountains, and winds had lashed all creation within their grasp. Marduk had stood firm, bathed in a mantle of golden radiance. From his will he had summoned the tablet of destinies upon which the eternal glyphs had blazed, and time itself had faltered, trembling at his command.
I am the flame that holds the world together. You strike at me. You strike at existence.
7 days, 7 nights passed. The universe did not sleep, it screamed. The coils of Tiamat had torn through clouds vast as mountains. The sword of Ishtar, burning with passion, had severed the starlight. Enlil had turned the heavens into a raging hurricane. And Marduk, radiant as a newborn sun, had barely held back the surging tide. Lightning had clashed with tidal waves. Love had struck against order. Chaos had drowned structure. With every blow, the stars themselves were reshaped. The battlefield lay scorched. Space itself had warped and groaned. The gods, bruised yet unyielding, gathered their strength and made one final faithful push.
This ends now. I'll tear your soul from the stars. Strike him down before the balance collapses.
Together.
3 rose against Marduk, and he answered with the fullness of his might. Their powers met, not like swords, but like galaxies colliding. A cataclysm erupted. Light bent, gravity screamed, and a white-hot, boundless flash consumed all. The shockwave tore through dimensions, stars faltered in their burning, and silence fell across creation. The clash of their fourfold powers gave birth to the explosion. It blazed brighter than colliding stars, hotter than the heart of the sun. Even the gods shielded their eyes. It was not destruction, it was creation. Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil staggered back, scorched and gasping for breath. Flames swirled in madness, screaming like primeval beasts.
What is that? I can't feel the threads. The threads of time.
The flame struck Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil, yet Marduk stood unmoved at the heart of the storm. The fire curled in the air before him, alive, conscious, divine. Marduk did not yield. Within the core of devastation he beheld it, a flame neither of heaven nor of earth, but a new force, born from divinity itself.
You are not chaos. You are potential.
He lifted his arm, and the flame obeyed, swirling about him, merging into his sleeve like ink dissolving into water. He claimed it, and in that moment, the cosmos was changed forever. When the smoke had cleared, the battlefield lay scarred. The gods lay broken. Tiamat coiled upon herself, bleeding. Ishtar clutched her side, her armor torn to ruin. Enlil knelt, the last flickers of lightning fading about him. 3 titans had fallen, not by steel, nor by spell, but by something far older. Balance undone, order overturned. And Marduk stepped toward them, his expression unreadable.
You were not enemies, you were creators, but you raised your hand against the order. Unlike Anzu, I cannot destroy you. The universe needs your roles, but defiance must have consequence.
He raised his arm, and a vortex began to spin, cold, vast, and eternal.
You are banished.
The wind howled, reality bent, and the 3 gods were lifted from the ground, stripped of all power.
This is not the end, Marduk. You will fall. I loved you once, but now only ash remains.
And thus the old gods fell into the void, not slain, but erased from the heavens themselves. The stars had flickered, and the clouds had roared above. The fire upon Marduk's robe glowed faint, like embers of a fading dawn. The battle had been won, yet the burden of victory pressed heavy upon the firmament. And there Marduk stood, alone amid the ruin, a solitary god among the ashes of creation.
This fire, it creates, it destroys, it tips.
He lifted his eyes to the heights where the 3 gods had vanished. Balance had been preserved, yet fractures marred the fabric of creation. Their voices still echoed in the silence, and their wrath lingered beyond the veil, awaiting the hour of return. Marduk's gaze had hardened, and he strode onward, silent, hollow. Vast halls unfurled into shadow, and he walked alone, the faint pulse of fire burning beneath his robe. Marduk, the supreme god, now bore dominion in solitude, the flame, his burden, his shield, his curse. And as his footsteps resounded through the emptiness, each reverberation bore witness to the ancient truth. Power was isolation.